everyone. I, Tirth Panchal, welcome you all in today's Migration and Education Conclave 2022 by Aussizz Group. It's a 5-day event where we are going to discuss about the various courses in the PR pathway. Today on day 3, we are going to discuss about the popular trade courses, and it's a first session. So today we are going to discuss about the construction industry, the popular courses such as the building and construction, carpentry, wall tiling, painting, and the decoration, followed by the Mr. Kamaljit Singh, who is a registered migration agent. He'll be discussing about the PR pathway for these courses and the skill assessment process. And I, Tirth Panchal, education consultant, will be discuss about the eligibility criteria to enroll in these courses. Now, before we begin into the session, I would like to inform you all that Aussizz Group is giving away that there's a lots of free giveaway offers for all of you. So where you will be eligible for a free 2 months of the PT online coaching, free CCL online coaching. You can be eligible for the 485 consultation, free PR consultation with the migration agent, and you can win up to the 50% of the scholarship if you meet the eligibility criteria. So link is provided in the chat section. Okay, you can give a shout out by taking Aussizz Group, and you will be eligible for this offer. All of these sessions are recorded, and once we finish our conclave session, we'll be uploading all of these videos on our Aussizz YouTube channel. So in case if you miss any information or you want to share all of this information to with your friends or family members, you can just revisit our YouTube channel. You can go through the information, or else you can visit our nearby Aussizz office and you can have a consultation with our registered migration agent or an education consultant for your future PR pathway. Let's begin. So as I mentioned today, first session, it's about the construction industry. I'll be discussing about the courses pathway, and Mr. Kamaljit Singh will be discussing about the PR opportunities and the skill assessment pathway for all of these courses. As you know, all of these courses lies under the trade sector. The trade courses which comes under the VET sector. VET means vocational education and the training. And why students choose their trade courses? First of all, the obvious reason is these courses are the way cheaper if we compare to bachelor's or the master's level the courses. Generally, if I talk about the bachelor's level courses or the master level, the price range varies from 50 to $90,000 for the entire course duration. If you compare that price range with the trade courses, it's generally in between $15,000 to $30,000. So it's quite cheap. Also, PR pathway is possible with the less points. If we talk about the IQ occupations, they get invited at very such high points, and if go for the trade courses, we have seen that people getting invited at the very less points. Also, those students who have studied this course are also eligible for the postgraduate visa. Furthermore, high demand for the trade occupation where the employers are looking for the skilled people, and their work is also valued. So, and more likely once you finish your course, you are the job ready, where you can easily get the job, and there's lots of opportunity. Also, not just about the job, it's a very well paid jobs. You can uh, get eligible for up to the higher period, such as more than the 60 or the $100 per hour. So what are the key eligibility criteria? So let's discuss. Generally, these courses comes under the VET sector, which means you need to study the certificate 3, certificate 4 diploma or the advanced diploma level, depending upon the what trade course that you are choosing for your pathway after having the consultation with the migration agent. So if you needed to study at the certificate 3 level, the common entry requirement is that you need to complete the year 12 or an Australian equivalent qualification, and the minimum English language criteria is IELTS 5.5 or equivalent. If you talk about the certificate 4, generally for some courses the prerequisite of the certificate 3 is required, but for the some courses certificate 3 prerequisite is not required. So the mandatory requirement is you need to complete the year 12 or equivalent, or the minimum English language requirement is IELTS 5.5 or equivalent. As I mentioned, for a diploma, the same criteria. Maybe certificate 3 or the certificate 4 are needed for that course, maybe not needed. So depending upon the which trade occupation that you choose, the minimum English language is 5.5. And for the advanced diploma, generally prerequisite of the diploma is required, but there are one or two courses where the prerequisite is not required, and you can straight away start this advanced diploma course. And the minimum English requirement is IELTS 5.5 with 5.0 in each component or equivalent. And if you have completed Australian EQF level certificate 4 or higher, you can get exemption for the English language criteria. So let's talk about what are the courses available in this construction industry sector. So there are mainly the courses such as the carpentry, painting and decoration, bricklaying and block laying, fabrication and building, wall and floor tiling, and then the civil and construction design courses are available. And after that, once you finish this qualification, you'll be eligible to qualified for an occupation such as a carpenter, painting and trades worker, bricklaying, metal fabricator, welder, wall and the floor tiler, or the civil engineering draft person. So if you can see, there are plenty of the colleges that offer these courses. So here I have mentioned few of the colleges. So depending upon your location, in which state where you are located, price may vary, price may not vary. And so if you want to enroll in such courses, you can visit our nearby Aussizz office, have a consultation with the education consultant, and they will be able to help you find out this courses in one of these colleges. So now let's talk about a carpenter. If you are planning to apply to become a carpenter, or if you are planning to study carpentry, you need to study a certificate 3 in the carpentry, or you can study certificate 3 in carpentry leading to diploma of building and the construction design, where you can package this one, and further you can be eligible for the 485 graduate visa. So as I mentioned, the entry requirement is you need to complete the year 12 or equivalent, and IELTS 5.5 no less than 5 in each module. After completing the certificate 3 in the carpentry leading to diploma of building and construction, you may be eligible to work as a carpenter, and you can choose either specialization, commercial, or the farm work, or the residential. You can not just limit it to become a carpenter. You can also become a builder. You can be also a construction supervisor, or you can pursue your career as a site supervisor or the leading head. So you are not just limited to the one particular field upon completing this trade course. Now, on an average, time duration for this course is 1 or 2 years. If you are planning to study trade courses on a concurrent basis, where let's say, for example, you are doing your bachelor degree or a master's degree, and that degree is not going to lead to your any PR pathway for you in the future. So you can study this course concurrently alongside with your bachelor's or master's. So depending upon that, maybe you don't need to study the diploma in a building and construction. You just need the certificate 3 to be eligible for the PR pathway. So time duration may vary for up to 1 or 2 years. At the moment, the promotional price is varies from $20,000 to $25,000 for this course, depending upon the what's your current location in the Australia and what state currently you are located in. And luckily, there are the monthly intakes available. But for this course, you can be enroll yourself in the month of the July, August, September, October, or the November intake. So uh, yeah, pretty much that's it for the carpentry courses. Now, if we look at the salary range, this record is based upon the labor market. most common annual package varies from $85,000 to $120,000, and you can win you can earn up to weekly 1,800 to 2,500 according to the labor market data. So that's quite good salary range that you can get once you finish this course. I would like to inform all the viewers that if you have any questions, feel free to drop a message in the chat box. At the end of the session, we'll be answering all of the questions. As you can see from this chart, this is a 5-year industry projection by the governments, and government has also the projected for the construction and the building for, and as we can see from the government promises that the growth is very strong. So there are more future job opportunity available in this sector. And according to the labor market information, employment level may rise up to the 16 to 80% in this industry. So projected to increase employment opportunities for carpenter and the construction worker. So yeah, there will be lots of job opportunity available in the future. Let's talk about the painting trades workers. If you want to be eligible to apply as a painting trades worker, you need to study certificate 3 in the painting and the decorating. As I mentioned, to be eligible to get admission in a certificate 3 in painting and decorating, you need to complete year 12 minimum admission requirement is the qualification, and the IELTS 5.5 no less than 5.0 each module. And you can study this course concurrently, or or or, or you can start studying this course leading to any diploma to be eligible. Generally, the career opportunities after finishing this course is you can be eligible work as a painting trades worker. You can either choose your specialization as an industrial painter, commercial painter, or just as a painter. Now, if you talk about the price and the duration, the generally a time duration is 2 years. At the moment, the price range varies from 20,000 to 18,000 depending upon the what state you are in. So as I mentioned, there are monthly intakes available, and depending upon your current situation, and if you are planning to study, you can enroll in any one of these intake. If we talk about the salary ranges, it's quite low compared to the carpenter. This data is from the labor market. So most the common annual packages varies from 50 to 65,000 dollars per year, and you can earn up to weekly 1350 to 1450 on an average. Now let's talk about the bricklayer. To be eligible to apply as a bricklayer, or if you want to become a bricklayer in the future, you can study certificate 3 in the bricklaying and the block laying. And as I mentioned, entry requirement is year 12, IELTS 5.5, no less than 5 in each module. Now, if you talk about the price duration, it may vary from 1 to 2 years, depending upon whether you are studying concurrently or through the package pathway leading to diploma in building and construction. So price may vary from $17,000 to $27,000 depending upon in what state you are located in. And intakes are available in the month of the July, September, November at the moment right now. So if you want to enroll, reach out to nearby Aussizz office, or you can email me. The salary range varies according to the labor market. Is the most common annual packages between $70,000 to $75,000, and you can earn up to weekly $1,400 to $1,500. If you talk about wall and the floor tiling, you need to study certificate 3 in wall and floor tiling. Generally, the time duration is 1 to 2 years, as I mentioned, depending upon whether you are doing concurrently or the package pathway. The promotional price for the onshore students at the moment is 13,500 for the 1 year course. And if you are going for a package pathway to be eligible for further the graduate visa. It may be $25,000 for the 2 years. Monthly intakes are available, such as July, August, September, or the October. Salary range according to the labor market is on an average $51,000 to $60,000, and you can earn weekly up to $2,100 to $2,300. Now, if you talk about the metal fabricators, welder, pressure welder, you need to study certificate 3 in engineering, specialization in fabrication trade, or you can package this course with certificate 3 in fabrication trade and certificate 4 or leading to diploma of engineering. The generally time duration is 52 weeks or the 50 weeks for the certificate 3 and then the certificate 4 if you are planning to package this one with the diploma. So it can be up to the 104 week, which is the 2 years. So at the moment the promotional price for the onshore students it's $16,500, and mostly the monthly intakes are available if you are planning to study this course. Salary range according to the labor market is lies between $63,000 to $65,000, and you can earn weekly up to the $1,300 to $1,400. Now, the civil engineering draft person. This is the only course that you can start at advanced diploma level, or you can study at diploma leading to advanced diploma level. The course name is Advanced Diploma of Civil Engineering and the Construction Design. It's a 2-year course, and to be eligible for this course, you need to finish your year 12 in IELTS 5.5, no less than 5 in each module. The duration is 2 years, and the promotional price at the moment for the onshore students lies between $22,000 to $24,000, depending upon the what college or the institution that you choose and the currently in what part of the Australia you are located. And they have the monthly intakes available, such as Jan, April, July, or the August. This course is quite popular at the moment in the Western Australia as well. Lots of students are planning to take this one and the salary range for this course generally lies between $60,000 to $75,000, and weekly you can earn up to the $1,300 to $1,500. So everyone, I have discussed about the most of the courses that lies under the construction category. If you have any questions about these courses, or if you want to enroll yourself in any one of those courses, or you just want to discuss about whether it's a right option for you to study this course or not, you can email me or you can reach out to me through this contact number. I'll share my contact details in the chat box. And now Mr. Kamaljeet, who is a registered migration agent, is going to discuss about the PR pathways for all of these courses, skill assessment, and the state nomination criteria. So if you have any doubts, feel free to drop a question in the chat box, and at the end, we'll be answering all of your questions. Thank you, everyone. Kamaljeet, next to you.
Thanks, Tirath. Hello, everybody. First of all, I should, thank Tirath. He has done a great presentation, great information, and moreover, he has given us up to, tight information in regards to different courses. Guys, my name is Kamaljeet Singh. I'm a registered migration agent, currently working with Aussizz Group. I would like to welcome all the attendees from Australia and from outside Australia, if you are. And today we'll be discussing about different trade courses and the PR pathways for the trade courses, and hopefully you will have all those kind of information. Moreover, as Tirath has already done his bit, if you've got any questions in regards to student visa or any kind of course information is required, please feel free to leave a message, and he'll probably give you an answer. All right, now I just want to share my screen quickly. Just give me 1 second. All right, guys. So today we'll be discussing about trade occupation and PR pathways. My name is Kamaljeet Singh, registered migration agent, currently working with Aussizz Group. Moving forward, I want to discuss a little bit about myself. I joined Aussizz Group in 2018, became registered migration in 2020. I'm specialized in AET matters. AET is basically when a student visa gets refused for different reasons. while the person is in Australia, we can review the decision. And moreover, Schedule 3 waivers, 8503 condition waivers, 4020 cases, general skill migration, partner visas, employer nominate visas. I like writing submissions, especially when I'm fighting cases. If a person has a visa refusal, so I've got these kind of specialization. Moreover, I like personally dealing in critical and complex cases. So this is more about me personally, how I like to assess the case and how I like to understand the case and advise the client accordingly. Moving forward, guys, Aussizz Group doesn't only provide services in regards to visas only. We are a group where we provide services like professional year program, PT training, IELTS, insurance, and CCL NATI training as well. Moreover, we provide assistance in migration assistance and AAT review applications, education enrollment and career guidance, PT and IELTS coaching, CCL coaching, health insurance, and professional year program. So guys, Aussizz Group is more about trying to help candidates from Australia and from outside Australia to provide them with different kind of services, not only visa services but all other related services like health insurance and training like PTE, IELTS, and CCL. So if you are that type of candidate who's offshore and planning to prepare for PTE or planning to prepare for IELTS or NATI examination, you can always go online. You can see the website is mentioned over there. Okay, and do a research, do some demo classes, and see how you go with your visa process. All right. First of all, let me discuss a little bit about let's take an example that if a person has already enrolled in a trade course and he wants to understand how permanent residency pathway works in Australia. All right, guys, there's a pathway called General Skill Migration Pathway, which is a PR pathway. So basically, any person who is a skilled candidate, he can use this pathway to get permanent residency. So when I'm using this word skilled, that means you must have that kind of an occupation, which is in a skilled list. Okay, so we have basically got three type of list: STSOL list, MLTSSL list, and ROL list. So if your occupation is in those lists, you may be eligible for applying for permanent residency. Let's move on to subclasses. Now, 189 is an skilled independent visa. So any candidate who has met the minimum requirement, he lodges an EOI. Okay, he must have 65 points independently. You must have a full scale assessment and you must have 6 in each in English, and it's a permanent visa. 190 is a state sponsor. Again, it's a permanent visa, but here you are being basically nominated by a state. You must have minimum 60 points because 5 points are given by state. To meet the minimum requirement of 65 points, you must have a full scale assessment and you must have minimum 6 in each in English as well. Again, a permanent visa. 491 is not a permanent visa. It's basically a pathway to PR, we can say that. All right, so in that visas, you will see a candidate will have 50 points independently. 15 points are either given by state or 15 points are either given by relative. So guys, there will be a lot of candidates who, whose relatives are already living in Australia, who are permanent residents or citizens. If they are living in regional area, okay, means to say if they're living outside Melbourne, Sydney, and Brisbane, they can basically give you 15 points, but we have to make sure that they are your relatives. So relative definition has to be met. So when you are meeting a MARA agent and discussing about family sponsor visas, make sure you are matching that category of a relative definition if you want to obtain 15 points. So yeah, it's again a very good pathway when we are thinking about some candidates will have strong skill levels even from offshore, not in Australia, and they will have their relatives living in regional. So 491 relative sponsor is a very nice option as well. Again, requirement that you must have a skill assessment, and your English must be minimum 6 in each in IELTS or equivalent sort of PTE, TOEFL, CAE, and OET. Again, guys, we do understand IELTS and PTE are one of those examinations where a candidate feels more confident about obtaining. But if you want to try some other examinations, we have got TOEFL, CAE, OET as well, where you can achieve minimum score for yourself. Visa type, as I mentioned you guys previously, that 491 visa is not a permanent visa. It's a pathway to PR. So what will happen in this visa is let's say, for example, you've met the minimum requirement, you've got the 65 points, you have the full skill assessment, and you've been nominated by the state, say, for example, you will be given 5 years of visa, okay, which is leading to PR. Okay, how does that mean? So let's say, for example, if you are a candidate who has got the points, got the skill assessment, your occupation was there, you've been invited, you apply for the visa, visa has been granted, 5 years of visa will be given to you. Inside those 5 years, you must basically, meet the minimum requirement for the threshold income. So inside those 5 years, you must in earn, I should say, $53,900 for 1 year, second year, and third year. Okay, so once you have met that income threshold, then you further lodge 191, which is PR. Okay, so it's a very nice pathway as well, guys. So yes, just keep that thing in mind. It has to be 53,900 for 3 years, not combined 3 years. So 53,900, 53,900, and 53,900. So again, very nice pathway for those candidates, who cannot compete with those people who have got high points when it comes to 190 or 189. This pathway is basically for the people who are offshore or who do not obtain those kind of skills when it comes to English, AT, or they are not able to clear NATI. So this is how basically the general skill migration pathway works, guys. There are 3 types of visas. You must have minimum 65 points. You must have a skill assessment. You must have English 6 in each. Okay, again, when it comes to applying for PR, you must be invited by the immigration to apply for PR. So you will lodge an EUI on your set points and you will be invited. For 189, guys, unfortunately, since March 2020, when the pandemic was, struck worldwide globally, department has started only giving invites to occupations which are more in critical sector like registered nurses, doctors, microbiologists, and all engineering sectors as well. So yeah, unfortunately, we won't be able to get invites in 189, but there are chances that 190 and 491 will be able to get invites for state sponsorship and relative sponsorships as well. Okay. Moving forward, guys, let's discuss about now what is skill assessment. Skill assessment is a piece of document which tells the department that what is your occupation. Okay, now any person who is applying for general skill migration visas, he must obtain the skill assessment in any given occupation which is in the list. So let's say, for example, if you are a painter, as you've studied your painting course, okay, and you are looking forward to apply for permanent residency, you must obtain the skill assessment. Okay, even if you're a nurse, engineer, IT professional, if you are going in general skill migration category, you must have a skill assessment. So skill assessment will basically tells the immigration officer that you are chef, you are cook, or you are painter, or whatsoever. So yeah. Now for trade occupations, we have got skill assessment authorities like Trade Recognition Australia, in which a candidate can do a job ready program, which is also called JRP. Trade Recognition Australia also does a migration skill assessment. We'll discuss further on that. And then we have got offshore sort of applications where a person can do a wet assess. Say, for example, if a candidate possesses more than 3 years of work experience in any given trade. Let's take an example. If I'm from India or Pakistan and I've done say chef. I've been working as a chef, okay, in my home country for 4 years, okay, then I can obtain the skill assessment straight utilizing those 4 years of work experience through WSS. Same goes with William Anglis. Unfortunately, they only do hospitality occupations, no other trade occupations. But with WSS, they are doing a lot of occupations like welding, electrician, when it comes to chef, cooks, and all the motor mechanic as well. So very nice authority. If a candidate is offshore and he possesses work experience, which is more than 3 years, to get the straight skill assessment, not going into job ready program. Same goes with the candidates who are in Australia. If they have got that kind of work experience, which is the minimum requirement of WSS, which is 3 years plus, okay, you will be able to obtain the skill assessment. But yeah, we'll discuss further on that. The fourth one is ATTC. This is a new authority. Before it used to be Victoria University. It was omitted, and then the new skill assessment authority came in Australian Training College. Again, very nice authority. They will judge your occupations and then assess your documentation and then advise you accordingly. Let's discuss about TRA Job Ready Program. What is it? Now, again, guys, this we are talking about is how a person can obtain a skill assessment in trade occupation. All right. Say, for example, if I've done my certificate 3 in painting, okay, and I want to get the skill assessment because I'm looking further for PR options, this is the pathway. So the job ready program is an employment based skill assessment program for international student graduates with an Australian qualification. So a person must understand Australian qualification which he has completed in Australia. Okay, you must have held a student visa as a primary applicant. So guys, just keep that thing in mind. If you're in Australia, we have seen in a lot many cases that candidates have been advised. Say, for example, I came here on a master's, all right, and my wife was my dependent. Okay, so I was the primary applicant, my wife was dependent. All right, now I was doing accounting. Let's say, for example, I went to the agent and agent said there are very less chances to get permanent residency in accounting because you don't have enough points. So I asked them, okay, how am I going to increase my points? You said, okay, your partner can, give you the skill assessment, and moreover, she can give you, English examination as well. So to obtain the skill assessment, she can do a trade course and then the job ready program. All right. Now, this advice is wrong because basically my spouse, my wife, has never held a student visa as a primary applicant. So she won't be able to do the job ready program, guys. Okay, so just keep that thing in mind. The person who has held a student visa as a primary applicant only can do the job ready program. In some cases, we have seen, a candidate has been advised that you can do the job ready program. Okay, even when you are student dependent, the answer is no. You can study, of course. Okay, you can do certificate 3 or certificate 4 depending upon whichever your course is, but you won't be able to do the job ready program. So just keep that thing in mind. How the assessment works. Step number 1 used to be provisional skill assessment, which has been omitted by the department prior to 30th of June 2022. Now they have taken that step into a new step called job ready program registration and eligibility. So basically what they are saying is if you want to do a job ready program, okay, you need to register yourself and they will check your eligibility. What does that mean? Eligibility, as I've mentioned you guys here, that you must have completed Australia qualification, plus you must have held a student visa as a primary applicant. Understood? Again, the fees is approximate, not approximate, exact $200. Okay, if sometimes what will happen is the candidates do not like to take advice from a Mara agent. They think their friends are better than Mara agents. They might go outside and take advices from them and end up, being their eligibility refused by the TRA. Then if you want to review it again, it's another $200. So just make sure, guys, you shouldn't be wasting time. Just take the proper advice and, consult someone who's experienced in this industry. Step number 2 is JRE, job ready employment. Is costing about $456, $450. So again, guys, basically I should mention you that a job ready program is basically a pathway where a person is working in their nominated occupation. Say, for example, I've done certificate 3 in painting. Okay, I am working in my occupation for at least 1 year. Okay, so all these assessment steps are completed in those 1 years. Okay, step number 3 would be JRWA, job ready workplace assessment, nearly $2,500. So how it works is, let's say, for example, let's take an example. Okay, I did my certificate 3 in painting. Now I want to get the skill assessment. I've done the registration. They've checked my eligibility. I've done certificate 3 in painting. I've held the student visa. Okay, and apply for the registration. Once I got the registration, then I move on to step number 2. Now, what is this? Now here, you have to give them the details of the employer, that where you are going to spend your 1 year, and you are going to get paid experience. Is it understood? So this is the step number 2. Step number 3. Now, once you are into that 1 year of work experience, okay, so the TRA assessing case officer will come and assess your skills. So they will see basically, where your skills are lying, how good are you at painting, how good you are at safety, do you understand the occupational health and safety standards? So all those things are done by the assessor on this step number 3. Step number 4 is job ready final assessment. Now, this is the document which we need from the TRA. Okay, once we have completed our whole job ready program. Okay, and this document is utilized to apply for permanent residency visa. So last thing, you must have full-time work rights for JRE, GRWA, and GRFA. So all these steps, guys, when you are applying for skill assessment, job ready program, they will require you to have a full-time work rights. So when it comes to full-time work rights, you can go like, employer sponsor visas. You can go like 485 visas, okay, 408 visas. So the question rises here is now, because department has announced that student can work full-time, can I utilize this time period for job ready program? Yes, but the thing is, it's a very gray area. You never know when they're going to change that requirement, and then you might end up, losing your time or you for your job ready program. So just make sure you consult a registered migration agent before proceeding with your job ready program if you do not have full-time work rights on your visa. Last thing, 1725 hours has to be completed, and plus 1 year of employment work is mandatory. Now, what does that mean is, guys, that this whole job ready program will basically work for at least 1 year. Okay, so, and you have to complete 1725 hours minimum. So sometimes, clients will come to me and they will ask you, okay, how about Kamaljeet, if I, do these 1725 hours in 6 months? Okay, I can work like part-time for some other place, or I can do overtime. Doesn't matter, guys. So if you are enrolling in job ready program, you can do like 1800, 1900 hours. Doesn't matter. That is minimum requirement, but you must do the job ready program for at least 1 year. It is a mandatory requirement. Okay, so guys, I'll probably advise you, let's take it slowly, take it easy, try to learn the skill which is more beneficial for you once you've obtained the permanent residency, or if you are in that pathway of 491. It's a good skill to learn when it comes to trade occupations. Now let's move on to tips and tricks for the job ready program. So using your bridging visa wisely. What does that mean is, guys, let's say, for example, if you are on a student visa and you have applied for 485 visa, which is a temporary graduate visa. So you will go on a bridging visa A for alpha, okay, and you will have full-time work rights. All right, so try to use that time period to do the job ready program, rather than some people. What they will do is they will start the job ready program either when their last 1 year of TR is left, or when the TR is, granted for 2 years or more. So I will probably advise you, let's utilize this bridging visa while you're on a bridging visa A, because department nowadays is taking, roughly around about 4 to 6 months for giving us the 485 visa grants. So in that case, if you can utilize that time period to get the, at least clear some hours for the job ready, that will be great. Second tip is 3 months prior employment can be claimed for JRE. So let's say, for example, guys, I was working in my nominated occupation, okay, from last 3 months, and then I applied for, 485 visa. You can utilize your 3 months of work experience when you are registering yourself for JRE. That is a good thing as well. This I've already mentioned, that you must have, 1 year of requirement met and 725 hours. You can change up to 5 employers. Now, guys, what will happen is when you are doing job ready program, sometimes if you are unfortunate, you might face some kind of employers who are very grumpy and they don't like paying people. Unfortunately, things do happen, they might go that way. So TRA has given, us this kind of a luxury that you can basically change your employers 5 times. So that doesn't mean, you keep changing the employers. It's always advised, stick to one employer, because you are learning your skills. If you keep changing, you might have to start from the scratch again. Okay, but you can change your employers, 5 employers, up to 5 employers, not more than that. Job ready program pathway to migration skill assessment. So if you complete job ready program, it will give you a skill assessment, and you can claim skilled employment points. So now if you guys are doing job ready program and you have got 1 year of work experience in your nominated occupation, okay, you will get 5 points. So job ready program can be used to obtain those 5 points as well. Try to complete initial 863 hours with one employer. Now, why I'm saying this is, guys, because the assessment step, which is step number 3, okay, GRWA, the assessor will only come and assess you when you have initially completed 863 hours with one employer. So in some cases, you might see that, people have done 11 months up to 10 months plus with different employers, and then they come and ask us the question like, why the assessor is taking too long, why he's not coming and assessing me. So it is written in the guidelines that try to, basically match those 863 hours with one employer before assessor comes and checks you. So it's always good you stick with one employer, complete those hours, and get the things done. Save your supporting documents such as payslips, bank statements, tax documentation, and photographs monthly. Now, guys, let's take an example. If you are in that type of industry, let's say, for example, bricklaying, all right? Now, you might have done such kind of a work, basically where you are not being paid by the employer on on TFN. You are being paid by the employer on ABN, okay? So you are issuing them the invoice and they are paying the invoice. So try to gather all those documentation as you go on monthly basis. Why I'm saying this is because it's very hard for a person to obtain the documents, and then you are trying to search, or talk to your accountant that how I'm going to make this document, what is this, what is that. It's always good you go monthly, so that because if immigration request for any further documentation, you already have all those monthly, set up folders in your USB or your PC where you can have the access and provide them the documentation if they require to do such. So it's a very good practice. Now, you cannot, you sometimes people say, okay, monthly is very hard. You can go to 3 months, okay, because every 3 to 6 months we have to update the TRA as well for the skill assessment. So it's always good. Say for example, if candidate is working on TFN and his employer forgets to pay him something like a super or something, then he can talk to his employer while we are in that program, rather than some people they will finish their job ready program and then suddenly when they will consult with the ATO or their super company, they will see that employer forgot to pay the superannuation. Is just, not a good thing, because immigration might feel like, what is going on. So it's always good all your documentation, must be up to date as you are going along with the job ready program. All right. So these were job ready tips and tricks. Moving on to which was the second step, not step, a category of obtaining the skill assessment is Trade Recognition Australia. MSA is a migration skill assessment, full skill assessment. Now, this pathway is used for candidates who have got, more than 3 years of work experience. Now, let's take an example. I've done painting, but I have done painting work experience from offshore. Offshore means I'm in India. I did 6 years of work experience in India. So if you have got that type of work experience, but not in Australia, and there are certain authorities which do not assess that particular occupation, but the Trade Recognition Australia will assess your occupation on the basis of if you've got 6 years full-time or equivalent part-time employment, which can be combination of employment. For example, 4 years employment before RPL certificate was issued and 2 years after. So if you've got 6 years of work experience or 3 year or plus, then basically, we have got the pathway, which is straight migration skill assessment to obtain the skill assessment, which we can further utilize to, get the PR. VETSS is assessing authority, which has two pathways, pathway 1 and pathway 2. Pathway 1, you do not have Australian qualification. 4 to 6 years of full-time work experience is required. Okay, it similar works like MSA, but VETSS has been given only less occupations as compared to TRA, because TRA is the main body which which has similar offshore sort of branches like VETSS, not branches, authorities which do some occupations. Okay, not all the occupations, but some. So let's say, for example, if you have got 4 to 6 years of work experience as a motor mechanic from offshore, okay, you can apply for VETSS. Or if you got 4 years to 6 years work experience as a chef, you can apply for VETSS. Okay. Pathway 2 is you do have an Australian qualification and 3 years of full-time work experience. Now, let's take an example, guys. You came here on a student visa, you forgot to do the job ready program. All right. Now, it happens with some people, okay, but they were working in their occupation. So in that case, if you do have an Australian qualification and you have got 3 years of full-time work experience, the VETSS will give you the skill assessment straight utilizing this pathway 2, which is very nice. Okay. So it's always, there is a way to obtain the skill assessment, so don't just get demotivated that okay, I never did my job ready program in those many years, so what I'm gonna do. So let's say, for example, in that particular case which I discussed previously, guys, that okay, where that candidate was not able to do the job ready program, but can he do the VETSS? Yes, because he has got 3 years of full-time work experience. Okay, so note 12 months of experience must have been last 3 years. Now you can't say that I've got 3 years of work experience from 2010 until 2013. Okay, it must be minimum 12 months of experience in last 3 years. So it's a very nice assessing authority, and the pattern they have set is also very nice for especially the candidates who have got that kind of work experience, and they can obtain the skill assessment straight away. How the wet assess works? Okay, first one is you must have your evidence reviewed. Okay, what does that mean is you will show them all your documentation, where you were working, all your reference letters, all your pay slips, and all those kind of text document as well, even if you're from offshore, and they will review the evidence. Once the evidence has been reviewed, is a practical assessment or a technical interview. So when it comes to occupations like baking, electrician, okay, they will have a practical assessment because they want to see a person working and performing the duties. They might request for a video as well. Okay, so let's take an example. Before, someone was asking me what is the pathway for electrician, guys. So minimum certificate 3 is required in electrician, and then you can either do a job ready program, or you can give us the 3 years plus work experience as an electrician. So let's take an example that you are planning to do certificate 3 in Australia. You do the certificate 3 minimum, and then plus you must do the job ready program on your 485 visa or any other visa which does gives you full-time work rights. Okay, so yeah, what happens in the practical assessment is you will complete a series of tasks while being watched by an assessor. So again, it can be a video conference, it can be face-to-face sort of assessment as well. In a technical interview, assessor will ask you a range of questions about skills and knowledge required to work. So basically, if you possess that kind of work experience, guys, I don't think so there should be an issue answering any kind of those questions, because a person has already been skilled when it comes to he's given so many years, and the questions they normally ask are not that sort of hard questions, more basically related to your occupation. All the assessments are held in English and no interpreter is allowed. So keep that thing in mind, guys, that if you are from outside Australia and you are planning to obtain the skill assessment to apply for permanent residency, and you are choosing this pathway, the assessment structure is all designed in English, and the assessment which is taken by the assessor is also in English. So no interpreter will be given. So make sure you understand what type of questions they're going to ask you before going into this pathway. Now the question would be, are there any other authorities which will do the assessment without English? The answer is no. Every single authority requires you to do English. Now, PR for tradies, general skill migration, as I discussed previously, guys, 189, 190, 491 is the pathway. The recall is that all applicant needs to have at least competent English. That means you must have minimum 6 in each of the module. If you are looking for these visa pathways, you must have a full scale assessment for an occupation mentioned on the MLTSSL or STSOL list. An applicant must have at least minimum 65 points, combining state points for 190 or 491, where for 190 subclass, state will give you 5 points, and for 491 subclass, state will give you 15 points. So the moral of story is, guys, if you want to get PR, you must have a skill assessment, either choosing the pathway like job ready program, a migration skill assessment, a wet assess. Okay, the another pathway is the another requirement is you must have minimum 6 in each. Okay, and the third requirement is you must have minimum 65 points. That's the 3 minimum eligibility criteria a candidate must meet before he can further start getting into general skill migration pathways. Now the question rises, guys, what is MLTSSL list? Medium and long-term strategic list was replaced by when there used to be a list called skilled occupation list. On 19th of April 2017, they changed it to medium long term. Now what does that mean is there are certain occupation which are more sort of required in Australia. All right, so let's take an example, for example, like cook. Okay, now cook won't be in MLTSSL list. Okay, cook will be in STSOL. It is a short term. So occupation is in MLTSL, which medium long term means it has got sort of more prospectus when it comes to getting permanent residency rather than cook occupation. I don't say that cook will also not get PR. Yes, he will. But when you are weighing up the list, this one is more stronger. Which visas you can apply for? 189 skilled independent, which is straight PR, and 491 family sponsored. Okay. If you want up to date details, you can go on our website where we normally keep updating the state's occupations, if there are any change in the list or a requirement of the state. Now, let's discuss trade by trade, how things work for PR purposes. Now, if you are that type of candidate, who has done certificate 3 in painting, I had a question from Kashif before this session. He was saying, I completed certificate 3 in painting trade worker and I've done diploma in building and construction. My TR is going to expire soon. What are my best options? Okay. So as we can see here, guys, for the trade worker, painting trade worker, you must have completed certificate 3 in relevant qualification. Okay. You must have completed job ready to obtain skill assessment. Again, there is a waiver on this. If you already possess, 6 years of work experience and you've obtained the skill assessment by migration skill assessment pathway through TRA. Okay. Minimum 92 weeks of study is required. Now, let's take an example of this case that a person has done certificate 3 in painting and has done diploma in building and construction. He's already met 92 weeks of study. So there are some colleges where, basically you will, let's take an example. I've mentioned here some colleges. You can see here duration is 96, 96, 92, 92, 91, 104. So there are most of the colleges who have, changed their courses from 60 something to 92 weeks just in certificate 3. Okay. So you must meet those 92 weeks of study requirement. State preferable is South Australia and Western Australia. We'll be discussing on that. So all these courses which have been, all these colleges which have been mentioned here are in South Australia, given that 96 to 92 minimum weeks of study is mentioned as well. Okay, very nice occupation when it comes to straight 190 PR pathway. Okay, if now guys, when we made this slide, okay, South Australia was still open. Now they are making changes. Now this slide is basically what was happening before 30th of June. Okay, so if a person has done painting trade worker and he wants to apply for 190, they are saying you must be currently working in a nominated or closely related occupation for last 12 months in Adelaide or last 6 months outer regional South Australia. Very nice option. Now we know that guys that after certificate 3, we have to do a job ready program. Yes, that job ready program is going to go for 1 year. Yes, because that's the minimum mandatory criteria of skill assessment for the job ready program. So if this particular candidate who has done studies even in Melbourne, let's say for example he did certificate 3 of painting in Melbourne, he goes to South Australia and does 12 months in Adelaide, which is a job ready program. Or if a candidate who has already started his job ready program here, but we can choose 5 employers. Okay, so he switches his job ready program from Melbourne to Adelaide and does his 6 months in regional South Australia, he is eligible for 190. Okay, minimum points required are 65. Okay, so it's a very good pathway, guys. Now there will be some candidates who have already completed their job ready program. Okay, like in Kashif's case, he's saying my TR is going to expire soon. What are my best options? So that assumes that he has done his job ready program. What can he do? So he can basically choose this option that last 6 months, if he can go to outer regional South Australia, which is outside Adelaide. Okay, he will have the options for 190. Okay. For 491 guys, there is a pathway called Talent and Innovators Program. Inside that is one pathway, either you are graduate or there is another best pathway, which I would like to advise you is if you're working in regional. So if you're working in the regional, in some cases we have seen they do say that 6 months of work experience is required, but we have seen if the candidate has high points and you lodge your ROI, as you can see there, registering your interest, you are telling the state, my visa is going to expire. I've got a full-time job in regional South Australia. Okay, can you please invite me? And we have seen this state has invited a lot of candidates when it comes to 491 eligibility. Okay, so it says there exemptions are available for applicants living and working in outer regional South Australia. So it's a very good option, guys. South Australia is one of those states which I will prefer that a candidate, even if you have studied in New South Wales, Sydney, or if you have studied in Melbourne and you don't have any further options for painting, I will advise you that we move to South Australia regional or in Adelaide and do our job ready program, which can further us leads to 190 or 491. Western Australia. Western Australia, Perth is another state we can advise. There's a stream called graduate stream. At least 2 years of studies required in Western Australia. Okay, which must be full-time face-to-face for at least 2 years. English requirement must be met and the living evidence must be provided to the states. So basically, guys, if you have studied in Western Australia for 2 years, plus you have done your job ready program, there are chances that you will get the Western Australia 190 option. But again, because if you're investing that type of, that kind of time, which will have like 2 years of study and 1 year of job ready program, we have to weigh up things that how state's going to make the changes in future. But at the moment, it's a good opportunity if you are that type of candidate who has already completed your job ready program, that you will be eligible for 190 or 491 in South Australia. The another one is if you are not South Australian graduate, and you are living in Australia but outside Western Australia, you can just lodge your EUI. You must have a contract of employment in your nominated occupation for full-time employment in Western Australia for 12 months from the date of application of state nomination. So basically how Western Australia works with the Schedule 2 requirement is, guys, that let's say, for example, I've done painting. All right, I did my certificate 3, I did my job ready program, I've got high points. Okay, so I will lodge EUI for Western Australia. Okay, so when Western Australia picks up our EUI, they will say, okay, we like your EUI. Okay, now question is, what is EUI? EUI is basically telling them what kind of study I have done, how many points I'm holding. It's a sort of a system which is designed where a candidate fills his own details and the points are calculated, and then further information is given to the state, and you get a reference number or like EUI number. All right, so say for example, I've done certificate 3 in Melbourne, I've done my job ready program, and I lodge an EUI. State picks up my EUI, they say, okay, we like your EUI, can you please apply for the state nomination? So when we are applying for the state nomination, guys, you must have at least 12 months of contract in future from the date of your application. So this is a little bit of a tricky situation. In this, basically how I advise my client is, guys, that you just go there. If you're planning to lodge an EUI, just go to Western Australia and keep working, because the state might end up picking up your EUI in say 4 to 6 weeks or 12 weeks, and that time you've already been there, you've been working, which shows them more commitment. States are more about commitment. They don't like people switching states once they have got their permanent residency or 491. Let's talk about ACT Canberra. With the nomination pathways, when it comes to 491, 3 months of minimum work is required in your nominated occupation, or 6 months is required for 190. Now, guys, Canberra is one of those states. They will work through a matrix program. Okay, so what is that is that if you have, say, let's for example, a candidate has lived in Canberra for 1 year, okay, they will get 5 points. If they have lived in for 2 years, 10 points. It's more or less, again, state is trying to convince people to live there. Okay, so this is a very nice pathway as well. If you are that type of candidate who has done masters and painting all together and has got high points, where he believes that he can obtain A teach, he can clear NATI, they are married, even his partner or her partner can obtain skill assessment as well and give them minimum 6 or 7. With the matrix, your points will be more higher, and there are chances that you can get invited in ACT as well. When we are comparing state, guys, for Victoria, we are waiting for the state updates. For Tasmania, they have given us a little bit of hint that there might be a good news for painters if you go and do their job ready program, or at least 6 months of work experience. But again, let's wait for the proper update. New South Wales, again, we are waiting. Previously for 190, it was 3 years of work experience required. For Queensland, we are waiting for the state. South Australia, I would say, is a very good option. Western Australia is a good option, and ACT is a fair option. So comparing for the painters, guys, if you are going to choose painting course, I'll advise you South Australia, study there, do your job ready program there. Let's get 190. If you are that type of a candidate who has already studied, go to South Australia, do your job ready program 190. If you are that type of candidate who has already done certificate 3 and job ready program in Victoria, go to regional South Australia, do your 6 months. But again, state is making changes. Okay, but we still do have a strong feeling that South Australia is going to be one of those states which will be good for this option, occupation. So yeah, guys, so this is painting. If anyone has any questions in regards to painting occupations, you can leave me a message and we can answer you accordingly. Let's move on to bricklayer candidates. Now, bricklaying and block laying is one of those occupation, guys, where it's very new to our industry, given that a lot of bricklayers have already started making good money. A lot of different colleges have started getting courses so that they can help international students. So again, you must complete certificate 3 in relevant qualification. Job ready program must be done. 92 weeks of study, and state again preferred is South Australia. Now, courses which are related, again, minimum certificate 3 is required, guys. Okay, so when you are going into bricklaying, minimum certificate 3 is required in bricklaying and block laying. Okay, let's discuss about South Australia first. Same like painter, guys, as you can see there. For 190 eligibility, they are saying 12 months in Greater Adelaide or 6 months in outer regional South Australia. So again, if you are not that type of guy, who likes to get their hands with chemicals, or who hate chemicals, and you are more like outgoing person and you likes to work outside, bricklaying is one of those occupations which can make you very good money, and it's a very skilled occupation, always on demand. So I'll probably advise you that if we are planning, or if you are planning that we should study bricklaying in future, I'll advise you how about studying this particular course outside Victoria or any other state which is giving us PR. Now, if you are again that type of a candidate who has already studied bricklaying, let's do a job ready program in Adelaide, or outside Adelaide if you've already done. Okay. Graduate stream is similar like painting, guys. So basically, when we are comparing occupations, guys, bricklaying and painting are similar sort of occupations. Now, in bricklaying, we have seen very less candidates as compared to painting trade worker. So when a candidate normally is advised about trade courses, we have seen that we get advised about cookery, we get advised about motor mechanic, and the third one which we advise about is painting trade worker. Now, there are other occupations as well, like baking, hairdressing, and all other similar occupations. But when we are focusing on straight 190, I normally advise people like bricklaying, carpentry. I advise them like cabinet making. Okay, some sort of those occupations where a candidate has less competition, rather than where most of the students are already studying those courses and you want to get. Yes, again, if you have those type of candidate who has got high points and has got a full-time job, then we will probably advise you chef, cook, motor mechanic, painting. But I'll probably advise, if you're that type of candidate who has got a question in his mind whether I can get 7 each or not, I'll probably advise you let's go bricklaying or painting. So again, schedule 2, same requirement. You must lodge an EOI. 12 months of employment contract is required. ACT Canberra is similar. So comparing states, again, same like, painting trade worker, very good option. South Australia, good option. Western Australia, ACT is a fair option. So we can say comparing states, painting and bricklaying are on same spot. But when we are comparing number of candidates doing these courses, I'll probably suggest bricklaying is more stronger than painting because you have less candidates doing those courses. And again, it's a good money and it's a very skilled job. Okay. Moving forward, guys, carpenter candidates. Now, carpenters will again require minimum certificate 3. You must do a job ready program to obtain the skill assessment, and 92 weeks of study is recommended minimum. State preferred South Australia. Now, guys, if you are from Victoria, you might be thinking like, why he's not saying Victoria, guys, because we are waiting on Victoria's update. I do assume that Victoria may include these occupations as well for 491. 190, I'll doubt it, because they might ask for experience when it comes to trade occupations. And plus, in past, we have seen the candidates who have been invited for 190, they have been invited on 90 plus points. So yeah, with the trade occupations, we do understand a candidate, sometimes it's not possible to make 90 points. But if they include in 190, which is again very doubtful, but if they do, I'm thinking like they might be inviting candidates with high points like 85, 90 points. So Victoria is a little bit of you don't want to spend that type of time in that particular state which is not giving you 190. We better go to that kind of a state which is giving you 190. If something doesn't work out, we can at least try for 491. If you're already trying for 491, and the state is not giving you 491, you might end up getting frustrated, like what is happening, why I'm in this state, and all those kind of things. Okay, so carpenter, guys, certificate 3 is the minimum requirement. Relevant qualification, these have some of the colleges mentioned below of South Australia. Again, 92 weeks of studies required. Carpenter, again, you can see carpenter and joiner. is one occupation, guys, when you are studying carpentry, and carpentry itself is another occupation. So similar requirement 190, 12 months in Adelaide or 6 months in regional South Australia. Okay, with carpenter 12 months in Adelaide, 6 months in regional South Australia. So we can see that carpenter is also that type of occupation which has gone head to head with painting and bricklaying when it comes to 190 straight PR options in South Australia. So we can advise you that if you are going into these three courses, okay, these three are on similar sort of stage, which may lead you to 190. Okay, given that you must choose your state wisely, whether I should go into South Australia, or if I've already studied, how about if I do my job ready program, in Adelaide. So again, guys, the question rises is some people might say, okay, how about if I'm already in South Australia and I've studied that, course in South Australia? Yes, you have shown a great commitment to the state, but because to grab the skill assessment, you have to do a job ready program. So either way, guys who have studied in Victoria, excuse me, and who has studied in South Australia, that person both have to do job ready program to obtain the skill assessment. So if you have studied in Victoria and you do 12 months in Adelaide, you are also eligible for 190, and that particular candidate is also eligible for 190. So it's a great option, for both who are outside South Australia and who are inside South Australia. Western Australia graduate pathway is similar. Again, 2 years of study is required in South Australia, sorry, in Western Australia. Okay, you do the job ready program, you are able to get the state nomination. Schedule 2, again 12 months of work experiences, 12 months of employment contract, you can say a job offer is required. Okay, ACT, same like painting and bricklaying, 3 months of work experience, but high points will be required. 6 months of work experience for 190, but again, high points will be required in ACT matrix, guys. Okay, so just keep that thing in mind. Matrix is more like how ACT gives you points. Okay, not your EOI. EOI is different. Okay, that is your own points, like your age, your qualification, and all those kind of things. ACT is more like how long you've been there, how many which occupations you are working in, which occupation your husband or wife are working in. They will give you points accordingly. All right. Comparing the state, guys, again, carpentry has been head to head with painting and bricklaying. Very good option for South Australia, good option for Western Australia, and fair option for ACT. Now, someone might think why he's saying, fair option for ACT. ACT, that kind of a state, guys, which is very small with less population and less area. And more or less, when we are comparing building industries, guys, apart from Melbourne and Sydney, South Australia is one of those, states where building and construction, or you can think about Western Australia as one of those states where building and construction are going up. So ACT is a little bit, we have to match up all other logic things as well. So that's why I've given that as a fair option. Another one's gonna be wall and floor tiling candidates. So wall and floor tiling, we call them tiler. Okay, these candidates have to also do certificate 3. 92 weeks of studies required, preferable state again in South Australia. So again, guys, this wall and floor tiling is another good option as well. But if you are that type of a candidate who has got any kind of knee injury, or who doesn't likes to sit down all day on their knees, you might not like this job. Okay, because it makes nice money. Okay, and you are basically focusing on giving the finished product to the house. So again, nice money, your product can be seen. But when it comes to your health, so if you are, say for example, if you are 6'1", 6'2", tall, I don't think so, tiling would be more sort of suitable occupation for you. I'll probably advise you carpentry or bricklaying, because where you can stand and do things rather than getting down on the floor and laying down tiles. So yeah, again, but if you're that type of a candidate who likes tiling, okay, 12 months of job ready program in Adelaide or 6 months outside is very short. See, again, this occupation as well has come head to head with the other 3 occupations. So wall and floor tiling, but again, comparing your own health or how do you like about this, but it's a very interesting sort of job, and because we have seen products when they get finished, especially in tiling. Okay, they look very nice, as we have tried to shown here. Some great amazing tiling work being done by a tradesman. So yeah, it's a very nice sort of occupation. But just keeping in mind that in future, you might not like to work as a tiler. Nice money, everything, but okay, just bad with your knees. We've listened from Fridays. So yeah, if you study tiling, do your job ready program in Adelaide, it's a very nice option for straight 190. Okay, so Western Australia graduate stream again is similar, that if you've studied there, you've done your job ready program there, there are chances for straight 190 or 491. Schedule 2 requires 12 months, again, job offer in your nominated occupation, if your EOI has been selected. Comparing states, as you can see, there is no ACT, guys. The occupation is not in their list. So that gives us a hint that ACT, is not a, now, say, for example, if someone's building a house, of course, they need tilers, yes. So ACT has already shown us that they are not building, they're more like federal, parliament and all those IT and engineering sort of sectors jobs rather than construction and all those kinds. So yeah, South Australia, very good option. Western Australia, good option. Assuming Victoria, if they open up, they might give us 491 option. Tasmania might give us an option as well, and New South Wales might give us an option as well. So on a couple of states, we are waiting for the updates. But if you are currently that type of candidate, I'll probably advise you, let's wait 1.5 months, and I'll probably assume that South Australia is going to be one of those great states, which will give us, okay, so let me quickly read this question. Painting versus carpentry, which is the most likely to stay in occupation list for at least. See, Nick, I'll probably advise you both of the occupation and high demand, especially how the building and construction industry is going on. It's going to go on, both are on high demand. I'll probably suggest you will go into carpentry because not being, aggressive towards the occupation itself, it's more or less how the candidates are getting enrolled in painting. And painting is way more easier than carpentry, which is more physical. Okay, so some people, even females, do like doing painting, but when it comes to carpentry, so you have beaten that type of percentage of candidates who are female doing painting. So I'll probably advise you we go into carpentry. So guys, this was basically the session for trade occupations. If you have any questions, I'll probably discuss more about electrician as well, just a rough guidance. You can post a review for us, but let me quickly, I think someone, just give me 1 second. Someone asked us about electrician. Now, we never covered it, but let me give him a little bit of indication and experience and how it works. So I think it was someone. Oh, we got a lot of questions, Mike. So let's clear them all. I never saw those questions. So yeah, civil engineering technician, Mukesh, we have got a session, I think 3 p.m., which will be covering those all occupations regarding draftsperson, which are related to construction, but in civil sector. So you will be able to get all those answers, at around about 3. As you can see, you've already got an answer from Tirth that you can study advanced diploma. Okay. Does the relative has to be in regional, Nick? Yes, I previously mentioned that there are designated postcodes, where your relative has to be in regional. So previously, how it used to be is, in certain visas that candidates, their relatives were living in metro area. So even in Melbourne, so they were being, invited for 489 family sponsored visas. Then the visa was omitted and the new visa was introduced, which was 491. The benefit of person being in Melbourne has gone out, and now the candidate has to be in the regional, so which is outside Melbourne, Sydney or Brisbane. Okay, again, there are some sort of postcodes which are considered in Melbourne. Let's say, for example, Pakenham. Now, person might think like Pakenham is also region in Melbourne, but no. If your candidate is living in Pakenham or Clyde, let's say, for example, it's considered in region. Okay, so next question is, hi, Kamaljeet and Tirth. I finished my carpentry, PSA as well, started job ready, need a. See, Harsh, you have chosen a very nice course. Okay, as I previously mentioned, carpentry. PSA, that's good thing. You are one of those candidates who, couldn't get those benefits of PSA being omitted this year. But yeah, you have started your job ready program. If you are in Victoria, I'll probably advise you to wait until, July end or August, and let's see how Victoria reacts with 491 occupation list. If you are doing job ready program, I'll still advise you, and you want to remain in Victoria, I'll advise you, let's go to regional Victoria. Try Shepparton, Ballarat, where there are more houses being built. Ballarat is one of those area city where we are seeing a lot of growth. So at least we have that kind of 491 option. If you are targeting 190, I'll probably, I don't think so Victoria is going to be beneficial for us. Again, I might be wrong because state hasn't given us any updates yet, but still 190 option would be more preferable considering South Australia, one of those states. Kunai saying, assuming we have a graduate diploma from Australia and have required points but don't have a job yet, can we still apply for 189? Also, does Aussizz Group assist in job placements? Okay, Kuna, first of all, we do not assist in job placements. We are not a recruitment agency. We are basically counselors who will guide you through your visa processes, who will guide you through your enrollment processes, and who will give you best advices on which courses and your pathway is best for you. For job placements, I'll probably advise you for contacting recruitment agencies. Some of them like Hayes or Lendlease, etc. The question was, we have done graduate diploma from Australia and have required points but don't have a job yet. See, again, for 189, see again, guys, you cannot apply for the visa straight away. You have to lodge an EUI first. So EUI is basically like your personal resume, how many points you are holding. For 189, as I previously mentioned, Guna, that the candidate was being invited on 90 plus points. So if you are that type of a candidate holding those kind of points, yes, you go ahead and lodge the EUI. We have to again see which occupation you are in, because department is inviting occupations which are in critical sector. So we have got Nav Kumar. He's saying, hey guys, I'm working as a civil engineer at railway project, have 80 points. What are the chances for getting PR under visa 1? I'm in Melbourne. See, again, if you are working in a railway project, I'll probably advise you to increase your points a little bit. Okay, and then submit your ROI. There are chances for 190. We had seen engineers being invited plus 85 plus points. But I'll advise you, let's increase your points a little bit and then focus on, looks like 80 points, you might have got 7 each. Okay, I'll advise you to go, obtain 8 in each and then start focusing on, lodging an ROI. For Victoria, again, we might have, more seats coming up for states, and there are chances the points might drop. Okay, next question is Tamuz. Tamuz said, for 491 visa, do they count my 3 years work experience within my skill assessment? Or do I have to work extra 3 years to be eligible? Now, depending upon the occupation, Tamuz, let's say, for example, if you're working in IT, you will see if you obtain your skill assessment, they will, deduct some kind of work experience from your, when they are giving you skill assessment, and they will give you a proper date, which is called deemed date, where you can further, get your points claimed. So we have to check on your skill assessment on that. Paras saying, experience used in skill assessment, especially through RPL, can we use the same experience in skill? No, RPL is going to be very hard. So it has to be after that. Okay, so again, Nick, I think I already answered your question. Painting versus carpentry, I'll advise you carpentry. Okay, Google is saying 3 years of experience for New South Wales regional starting from after qualification or skill assessment, because for skill assessment of an electrician needed 3 years of experience. That is when you are going straight in skill assessment. But if you have already studied and you want to obtain the skill assessment through job ready program, then you can utilize. So basically it has to be after qualification when you are claiming points, or else they will deduct the points. Say for example, if a person has got 4 years of work experience, okay, and he does the skill assessment, which the requirement is minimum 3 years. Okay, so the case officer will not allow us to utilize those 3 years to obtain the points. So it's going to be a very tricky situation on that. Okay, so again, guys, trade occupation is one of those occupation which have been in high demand, since long time period. In trade occupations, we have seen Australian citizens and permanent residents who are already 40 plus. Okay, we have visited people, we have visited companies who do require. There is another occupation called metal fabrication, which is not major related to construction, but it is part of that when it comes to civil sort of sector. Okay, metal fabrication has also been one of those best occupation where candidates get very quick invites from the states, because an average person who is Australian citizen permanent working in metal fabrication, I would say has gone 45 plus years of age. And when it comes to occupation where sort of handy job is required, sorry, handy work is required, you know, that type of age people might not, choose to keep working in that industry. So yeah, guys, if you are planning to study metal fabrication, that is also a best, sort of pathway when it comes to a PR, or even in future, if a person is, planning to run their own business in metal fabrication. We have seen a lot of, candidates who have migrated from offshore and who were working offshore in metal fabrication, coming here, doing their businesses and obtaining permanent residency. So with the trade courses, guys, it's always a good pathway. Okay, we have to choose wisely which trade course we want to go into. Today we have discussed more about construction industry. Why we have discussed about that is because construction industry is gonna boom in next coming of years, because most of the people who get permanent resident, a lot of people get citizen as well. They're gonna build houses, people invest money in houses. So it is a sort of pathway where a construction in coming some years will boom even in Melbourne. But Melbourne, I'll advise you, if you're in Victoria, let's move outside Victoria and start focusing on, doing your job ready program outside Australia, outside Victoria. So that was basically it from me, guys. I hope we have answered everything in regards to PR regarding questions. But again, in regards to admissions and stuff, guys, Tirth will assist you in this, in regards to permanent residency pathway or your visa pathways, or if when it comes to state occupations update, guys, we have different branches in different states of Australia. It's gonna be very handy that because it's too early in July, guys, because it's only 6th of July. States are making changes, immigration is making changes in its start of new financial year. Let's wait 1.5 months or so, focus on our ATEACH, focus on our what do you call that, NATI examination. Okay, obtain the high points, because some people, what they do is, guys, have seen that, let's say for example, a person has 2 years or 3 years of TR. Okay, they will utilize the whole TR and then they are left with 1 year. Then they want to do everything, ATEACH, NATI, job ready program. And then when I ask them, like, what were you doing from last 2 years? Oh, I wanted to go home, and I never wanted to get PR in Australia. So don't get into those kind of excuses. We should be proactive. As soon as you lodge your 485, you're gonna go on bridging visa A, which will give you work rights, but no travel rights. Okay. So in bridging visa, we're gonna be utilizing that bridging visa to do our job ready program. Okay. So because when I'm utilizing my bridging visa doesn't have an expiry. Okay. So until the visa is finalized. So the 485, until the 485 is being granted, I will have that bridging visa. In some cases, we have seen, guys, during this pandemic, because 485 visa was taking so long to get granted, we have candidates like whose 485 were granted like after 1.5 years, 2 years, and they already got invited for 190 or 491, then, and their TR is still in process. Okay, so we have to make sure, guys, that we are choosing that bridging visa, period, very properly, to obtain ATEACH, obtain NATI, and do the job ready program. Now, some people, once they got the TR, they'll say, okay, once I get the TR, might, I need to save some money. Of course, personal circumstances are different. Then they will start, okay, what are we gonna do? Let's say, for example, I advise someone that let's go to South Australia. Okay, now when you are relocating to different state, it will cost you money, it will cost you time. Okay, plus there is no job, there is no, oh my, welcome to South Australia, we're gonna give you, it doesn't work like that. Yes, so let's utilize that time period, hard sort of struggle in bridging visa rather than in your own visa. Okay, so if you want to switch states, let's do it on your bridging visa rather than you've got your 485. So because we are already there, we've got the job, we have started working, it's a very good pathway. Second thing is, most of the people will, ignore CCL, NATI exam. They will say, we don't need to do NATI. I do understand some cases, you don't need to do NATI, but let's take an example that state has been given 3,000 seats. Okay, now we are 100% clear on this. When a state is given 3,000 seats, they will not utilize all 3,000. Okay, they will utilize maybe 2,000, maybe 1,500. Okay, some kind of that number. So when we know, let's say for example, out of 3,000 they're going to utilize 2,000, which candidate they're going to pick up? There will be at least 5,000 to 10,000 applications. Okay, let's take an example. Of course they're going to pick up the candidate who has got high points. Okay, so sometimes people will feel like, I've got 8 in each, I don't need to do naughty. Okay, I'll probably advise you might, if you've spent like $40,000 to $60,000 on your courses, you can't spend some time on your permanent residency. I'll probably advise you to do so. Get the training done, clear the NATI, obtain the 5 points, especially for those candidates who are reaching 32 plus, because you're going to lose your points as soon as you hit 33. Okay, so it's always good you are proactive on those points. Moreover, with PT, I normally advise candidates when you are in your last semester of studies, okay, start doing these things. Last semester means we've got 6 months left. Let's say I'm doing masters in engineering or whatsoever, and I'm gonna get my skill assessment. But in last 6 months, then I'm gonna apply my TR. Let's start focusing on your PT and NATI then, because it's valid for 3 years. Okay, we have done it, we have obtained the points, and we are ready to go or jump to any other state where we are going with high points. Rather than some people, what they will do is they will go to the state, then they'll call me, Mide, let's take example Tasmania. When we advise people, let's move to Tasmania, they'll say, we are not able to find a job here. I'm gonna give NATI, I'm gonna do not, PT. Of course, we do understand that, because you wasted your 3 years or 2 years in Melbourne, buying expensive iPhones and stuff. So let's be serious about this, fellas. Okay, train yourself hard. Okay, it's no joke. We know that people have struggled during this pandemic. People have switched not states but countries. They have tried to move to USA. They have tried to move to Canada. Australia is a very beautiful place. We all know that. Nice pay rate, big opportunities. Consult to a registered migration agent. You can visit your offices. Okay, in Melbourne we have got offices in Werribee, Hawthorne, Thomastown, City, Clayton, and soon we are opening in Dandenong. So whichever office, if you are in Melbourne, okay, try to visit your registered migration agent, have a word with them, do your research, have a word with your education counselor. How much is the course? Okay, how much money do I need? Do I get any kind of scholarship out of it? Okay, have all those kind of questions ready, so that when we are moving to the other state, we are going with the high points. Okay, because sometimes people who are in other states, let's say for example South Australia, because their brain is saying I'm in regional, I'll get PR. Okay, but if you are going with high points, there are high chances that you will get PR first. So it's always a good approach to be active about it. The last thing I want to mention is, guys, if you're on 485, make sure you are maintaining your health insurance all the time, because department is very strict on assessing the compliance. Like your visa says you must have health insurance. If you want to have an code or something, you can go to getmypolicy.com, have a code of which health insurance is better. Previously there people used to apply for bridging 485 while they're on bridging. They never used to take health insurance, and even we say them. But recently we have seen immigration has started asking questions like why this person has not taken health insurance. It's a sort of a stupid, silly mistake a person can do. So make sure you are maintaining that health insurance criteria since the day you have lodged 485 visa, okay, and you have jumped onto bridging visa A of 485. You must have health insurance as well. Okay, so I hope, guys, all your questions in regards to trade occupations or your doubts in regards to trade occupations have been discussed. We do understand sometime we won't be able to cover a lot of topics, because most of the topics at the moment are related to only 2 particular states, which was South Australia and Western Australia. Some of the states have not been so much cleared because it's too early stages in the new financial year. We are expecting maybe mid-July, August, or end of August, state will come up with new requirements. Hopefully, the way international students have suffered, even Australian community or whole globally, we have been suffered during this pandemic. The government will have a soft corner for international people, migrants, and they will come up with less sort of, soft requirements when it comes to especially 491 visas. So guys, if you are eligible for 491 visas rather than 19 visa, just go for it, because we have seen in past people were taking very lazy steps. When it was 489, we used to advise people apply for 489, they wanted to go with 189, and suddenly they just deleted the visa, omitted the visa, and excuse me, and this 491 visa came in, and especially for the accountants candidates. So make sure you are up to date with your Mara agent. Check, we always update on our Aussizz Facebook page. We always update on our websites. We do live sessions. When you are in a live session with someone, even if it's not related to your topic, just send them a question. It's always a good, and we have we always try our very best to answer the candidates within 24 hours, or someone or the other educational counselors or our other team will contact you. So that was it from me, guys. If you guys have any other questions, you can post on the question page. Okay, if you have any other questions which you want to talk to me personally, maybe I'll just quickly write down my phone number. This is my mobile number. You can WhatsApp me. Now, please do expect, I can't answer you those type of questions which are more basically related to complex situations. In that case, I'll probably advise you that you focus more on meeting the person face to face or discussing the case. This criteria which we have selected today is more focused on basic eligibility of a trade course, but we have seen a lot of people who might have already done trade courses. Their cases are different. They might be on AET, they might be on federal, okay, where there are possibilities to get a PR in regards to occupations. And moreover, I would also, as Tirth has already sent his details as well. So if you are into understanding or getting enrolled into trade courses, contact Tirth. He's very educated and professional in regards to giving you and assisting you in regards to trade courses. So that was it from me, guys. Hopefully you might have liked our session today in regards to trade courses. We do always like comments, even if they are bad comments, that what could have been done about this session. I do personally like it, so that we can improve in future. Please do post it on our pages, so it gives us an opportunity to keep improving our brand and keep improving our customer service. After all, we are here to help people, and if you are giving us feedbacks which are true and honest, it helps us a lot. And that was it from me, guys, and you might have a nice day. So if you have got any other questions for people, or else we are good to go.
Thank you so much for such a lovely session, Kamaljit. Guys, as mentioned by the Kamaljit, if you have any doubts related to migration or the education related, feel free to reach out to us. We have shared our contact details, and you can always visit our nearby Aussizz office. So that's it from us today. And thank you so much. You guys have been such a lovely audience. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye bye, guys.